Have you ever wondered why some doctoral research completely transforms our understanding of the business world, while other studies just kind of fall apart the second you look closely at them? Well, it all comes down to this. A doctoral study is only as strong as its methodological foundation. If that foundation is cracked, the entire research house just comes tumbling down. Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're focusing on exactly how to build that unbreakable foundation as we explore Chapter 13, Methodological Argumentation and Design Justification in Doctoral Studies. So, our material today originates from the Faculty of Business at University Haji Zeka, specifically drawing from the work of Associate Professor Dr. Fiznik Marina. We're going to be looking at advanced qualitative and quantitative research methods. And hey, whether you're a PhD candidate literally knee-deep in your dissertation right now, or just someone fascinated by how rigorous academic knowledge is actually constructed, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to decode all that heavy professional terminology and make these critical scientific concepts totally accessible. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our architectural blueprint for today. We'll start with the importance of methodological coherence, then the main research paradigms, the role of research questions, choosing study design, and finally, a practical study scenario. Section 1. The importance of methodological coherence. So before we can even think about framing the walls of our research house, we absolutely need to pour a solid foundation. Think of these learning objectives right here as our ultimate PhD survival checklist. By mastering this chapter, we're going to learn how to do 5 vital things. Analyze the alignment between a paradigm, purpose, and questions. Justify the research design, cross-sectional, longitudinal, case study, or mixed. Argue for our data collection and analysis choices. Evaluate validity, reliability, and limitations. And finally, draft a structured methodology section. Now, you might be wondering, what exactly is this foundation? Well, it's called methodological coherence. Simply put, it's the logical, unbroken chain connecting your underlying theory, your research design, and the empirical methods you use to actually gather data. Why does this matter so much? Because quite frankly, a lack of compliance here is fatal. If your theory doesn't match your methods, you get methodological inconsistency, which drastically weakens the validity of your results. Without it, your entire study basically loses its scientific quality. Section 2. Main research paradigms. Now, what's really interesting about this is how a paradigm essentially defines how a researcher understands reality. It's basically the lens for your entire project. So if your goal is to test strict cause and effect relationships and verify hypotheses, you're going to adopt a positivist paradigm using quantitative methods. Make sense? But if you want to deeply understand human perceptions and, say, organizational processes in real context, you shift to an interpretive paradigm using qualitative methods. Now, check out the pragmatic approach. It is absolutely surging in popularity in modern business research right now because it tackles messy, real-world problems by mixing both quantitative and qualitative methods to offer real, actionable management solutions. Choosing the right worldview here is absolutely critical because it dictates everything else you do. Section 3. Role of research questions. All right, so once you have your paradigm, it's time to put up the framing of our house. And we do that using research questions. This brilliantly illustrates how the research question sits at the very top of the workflow. It forms the conceptual base that actively guides the entire methodological process downward. It dictates the overarching methodology, then the specific data collection strategies, and finally the exact analysis techniques. You literally cannot collect data and then try to figure out the question later. The question always leads the way. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is this. Your methodological design must always be built directly on the nature and purpose of your research questions. If you formulate a specific, crystal clear question, but then use a completely unrelated design to answer it, you risk total failure. A mismatch here severely jeopardizes both the scientific coherence and the practical relevance of everything you've worked so hard on. Section 4. Choosing study design. Okay, so with our questions locked in, we have to pick our architectural tools. If you're looking to understand a brand new or understudied phenomenon, you're going to need an exploratory design. What if you're describing characteristics, trends, or behaviors? That's a descriptive design. Explaining relationships between variables requires an explanatory design. And to identify strict cause and effect relationships, you must use a rigorous causal design. Precision here is a total game changer. It increases your explanatory power and guarantees the overall validity of your doctoral conclusions. Section 5. Practical study scenario.
All right, we've built the foundation, we've framed the house, it's time for the final stress test. I mean, it's easy to read these dense academic theories on paper, right? But how does this actually look in a real-world business and economic scenario? Let's put you in the driver's seat.
Imagine a researcher wants to analyze the impact of ESG, that's environmental, social, and governance practices, on a corporation's financial performance. To do this, the researcher chooses a cross-sectional design. They pull data from just one single year, and they apply a standard linear regression. Based on everything we just learned about methodological coherence, paradigms, and causal design, I really want you to look closely at this setup. Here is your challenge straight from the university curriculum. First, evaluate if a cross-sectional design, which remember is just a snapshot of a single moment in time, is actually suitable for testing an impact relationship that likely unfolds over several years. Second, can you identify two specific methodological limitations of using only 1 year of data to judge complex financial performance? Really think about it, because if you can spot the flaws in this methodology, you have just mastered the art of methodological argumentation. Keep questioning the foundation, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.